What's up, everybody? Charles Kleber with Fishing Made Easy. So I'm gonna break away from a little bit of fishing easy tutorials, and I'm gonna give you a boat tutorial today. So my hubs on my wheels on my trailer of my boat, I noticed were leaking. When I went to pick up my boat from the shop last month, there was grease all over the side of my boat from the seal on the back of the hubs come loose and was leaking grease. So that had me nervous. You know, I've been saving a little bit of money and trying to figure out and still fishing, and I've drove it back and forth from Baytown to Galveston a couple times, and you know, I was a little bit nervous that I was going to lose a wheel on the highway, but it hadn't got that bad. When I did break one open, it still had a lot of grease in it, so they still had probably, you know, several 100,000, maybe 1,000 miles. I don't know, but I called my buddies over there at McClain trailer and in Channelview over there in North Shore, I believe, off of I-10, and those guys have everything. They are knowledgeable about everything they do. They've helped me for years. Actually, when I first bought this boat, I got brand new trailers, axles, leaf springs, everything from them and put on the boat. So I'm gonna walk y'all through the process that I go through to get these off. What I'm gonna do, the ones that I have on there now are supposed to be no maintenance, so they're pretty sealed, and the cap on there I had to break off, so I'm gonna be breaking those off. There's a nut inside there with a cotter pin, so basically I've got some brake cleaner. I'm gonna spray all that grease off. I'm gonna pull the cotter pin, back that nut off, work that old hub off, put the new hubs on. The new hubs aren't sealed like that. They just got caps. So there's a hole inside the little pin that holds everything that I've got grease ports that I'm going to put in there. So now I can pop the cap off manually myself, and I can add grease and keep them pretty sealed up and pretty greased up. So here in a second, I'm going to show you all the stuff that I bought from McClain. I'm going to walk you through the stuff we need, and then I'm going to show you how to do everything, so you can make your boat repairs easy. If you ever have to come across this and have to do it yourself, it's relatively cheap. Each one of these hubs cost me $50 a piece. All the parts and everything that I bought was a total of about $259. That's pretty cheap. The time, it's only going to take me a couple hours to do everything. If you take this to a shop, that's going to be, you know, $500, $600, $700 out of your pocket between parts and labor. So I mean, if you got that money to spend, spend that money. But if you want to do it yourself, you're in the right place to find out how to do it. Right on. Hope to see all you guys on the water. Maybe I'll see y'all repairing y'all's trailers. Tight lines and God bless. All right, here's an assortment of everything I'm going to be using. So, of course, we got the tools. I got me an impact right here. I can get the lug nuts off pretty easy once I loosen them. Small ones for the grease ports. Of course, my pry bars. I use this to get the cap off the other lug. And if I have to pry them off of the pin, I got a couple of them. My hammers, that to help me get the stuff off. Of course, my jack, little supplies, lug wrench, pan to catch all my grease when it starts dripping. Here's my replacement lugs. See the back? I've got the ball bearing in here, and then once I'm done, I'll put the cap onto this. Speaking of caps, there they are. You look in here, I got grease ports because the pins have the holes for these, so I'll put those in there, and I can be able to add grease to these bearings anytime I want to. New lug nuts. This brake cleaner, that's going to help me get all the grease away from the nut that I need to get off the pin to get the hub off. And this Corrosion X I got is actually to lubricate my trolling motor. Trolling motor's been squeaking. I was told by the trolling motor guy, Corrosion X, a little bit on there. It's going to help it out, and we're going to put it on there and we're going to try. Right on. Let's get started. This is a permanent cap held in there with a lot of things. So what we got to do now is get this out, and so we can get to the bolt that's inside, get that apart. Okay, real quick for you. I wanted to put this in. This is the first one I did, and I did it wrong. For some reason, I thought that black plastic cap had to come out. And I worked and worked and worked, and I got it out. And then I tried to figure out, how do I get this nut out? How am I going to get my socket in there? So after that, I figure out the right way, and it makes it 10 times easier to get these caps off. Like I said, guys, it's always a learning experience as you go, and each time you do it, you get better, and you learn more tricks. And it helps to have videos like this of you seeing it done wrong so you can figure out how to do it right. Right on, guys. Oh, I think that's the cover that just goes over the nut, if I remember almost correctly. I'm hell trying to get that cotter pin. Will that thing pop off? Let me see. Look at that. Do all that. I just needed to do that. Don't you look at that? Sometimes you do all that work for nothing. This guy right here. Well, kiss my grain. It only took me 2 of them to figure that out. I took one off the other day just to check. It's been a minute since I've done this. But like you can see, that Greek pour is really good. I'm gonna screw a cotter pin out and pour it in there. I don't know why he's so greasy. I don't know why you gotta be so greasy. You'd think greasy would make it easy, but it doesn't. It just rhymes. Still not bent up right. I was wondering how I was gonna get that cotter pin out and back in there. Now he knows. There she goes, baby. No fun getting that back in there. It is what it is. Cover, nut cover's what that is. There she is. She ain't even tight. It ain't even tight. That was easy. Gotta save that. That goes on there. Sure wasn't expecting it to come off that easy. If you see back here all the grease, the seal back here was breaking, causing that to leak out, and what that would do is eventually it'll just be metal on metal. Okay, here's you another wrong way that I'm gonna show y'all. It's not actually the wrong way, it just took too much time and too much effort. When I moved to the next wheel behind me, I found out a better way to do it, which is basically working it off with that pipe wrench, putting it at a little angle and pulling towards me as I worked it down, back and forth, and got it off way easier than all this work that I went through to get this one off. Thanks for learning with me. Right on. Wow.
this right here will come off whenever I wanted to grease it on the grease port. Let's go ahead and take it off. Good deal, buddy. So, see how I know it's going bad? See all these grease shooting up there? Well, that means that seal's gone bad. Grease is pouring all out there. You can see it on the trailer. It's not super bad, but we want to fix that before it gets super bad. Let's try this trick I learned from the first one. I don't believe I have to take all that off and try to get there. I can just take this off with the hammer. Let's see if that works. What? 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 That just saved an hour. I wish I'd have known that two lugs ago. Jeez. What I did is, as I was turning it, I was slowly putting pressure on it this way, which slowly worked it off, instead of me having to break it like I did the last one. If you look in there, that metal cap right there, that's what I just broke off. So this seal is what's been busting loose on the other one, apparently. right. So see these pins, so that hole is open for the cotter pin. So you may have to adjust the bolt back and forth to get it the perfect place. Alright guys, I'll show you a little thing I like to do to save time and money. If a lug nut ever goes bad, these here aren't super rusty and you can always clean them up, but lug nut ever goes bad, I'm gonna take these old the old ones off and save them. So what I can do is I can clean this up, hit it with a wire wheel, looks brand new, and if one of these ever go bad or rust out, I've got backups. Well, the reason I put these the lug nuts back on there is to protect the threads. You don't want to go beating on this and foul up the threads. Look at that, I got 10 backups right there. Alright. What I like to do when I have it back on the ground and it's not twisting, I like to go ahead and double check the pressure on the lugs. You want to torque them down to about 100 pounds. And you know, I pretty much can feel it, but if you want to use an actual torque wrench, that's what you need to do. Well guys, I did not think all I had was a sanding wheel, not a cutting wheel, and I didn't think that would get it off, but sometimes you got to use what you got. So all this grease spots on the side of my boat and all right here is what alerted me to them leaking. All right, I'm gonna grease the trolling motor now, just the shaft and what was suggested with a corrosion X here. I'm gonna put it on there and then wipe it down, and hopefully that'll stop the squeaking and keep it nice and maintained. We like our maintenance, guys. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Pretty simple, pretty easy. If you see what I did, I learned as we go, just like you should. You know, I mean, you know the basic foundations and how to do stuff, but you learn how to make it easy and tricky as you go. So basically, what we're doing is use that hammer, knock off the cap, take that cotter pin off, then you take the nut cover off, then you take the nut off, then you take the washer off, then you remove the hub. The little sleeve on the back of the hub is staying on the pin, so that's how I worked it off. If you saw, the first thing I did was I tried to beat it off with a screwdriver, and then what I did is I got me a pipe wrench, and I kind of had it at an angle as I was turning it, which had it just turn and kind of back out, and I got them off easier that way. Once that was done, I slid the new hub on there, and I ratcheted that nut down, put that washer on first, put the nut on, and I put the nut on a little tight at first, to push it up against the back as far as I could. Then I backed the nut off and just put it hand tight. When I took them off, they were hand tight. I could unloosen them. So that's what I did. I had to work the nut to where I could put the cover on it, to where the little sleeve, the little pins that are hanging off that cover, left that hole open for the cotter pin. Once the cotter pin was in, I put the grease port in, greased up it till I saw a little bit of the grease coming out of the back. That was enough grease. I put the new cap on there, and I hammered it on with a piece of wood to keep me from beating it up. Then I put the wheels back on. Simple as that. What I did to the trolling motor, I just put a little bit of corrosion X, and this is the type of corrosion X that can be around electronics. There's another corrosion X you want to put on your axles and stuff, but this is good for the trolling motor. It won't damage the electronics. So I just put enough in there, worked it up and down, and then wiped off all the rest. That's what the trolling motor guy in San Leon, told me to do to help it out. And it sounds like the squeaking stopped already, and I'll try it when I get out there again. But hope this helps y'all. Y'all tune in, because I got another video coming up where me, Chris, and Ruben, Texas all-water fishing, and his son Christopher and his friend are out there pulling in giant redfish, and his son pulled in a giant dinosaur, man. It was almost as big as him. Y'all going to want to see that one. I'm going to have a new one coming out too pretty soon, where I show y'all how to find reefs and structure, because that's where all the fish hang out, around the reefs and the structure, because that's where all the food's at. So y'all don't want to miss those two. Like and subscribe so you can get alerts and see when those come out. And I'm gonna try my best to make fishing. I'm gonna try my best to make fishing easy for you, boat mechanic easy for you, finding the fish easy for you. That way you can turn your fishing into catching. Right on? All right, guys. Hope to see you on the water. Tight lines, and God bless.
All right, today's verse is John 6:38. For I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but to do the will of him who sent me. That's Jesus speaking. How can he not be God if he came down from heaven? Good question. Maybe you should think about that and study up on it. Right on, right on.
Out on the Trinity, sun kissing my face, casting my line, it's a glorious place. With Jesus beside me, guiding the tide, redfish and speckle, the ocean my guide. Flounder lurking where the shadows play, passing at moments I'm lost in the fray. Jesus shines bright under the light, baiting my hook, I'm hooked on this side. Tides pull me closer, they know my desire. The thrill of the catch set my heart afire. With nets full of dreams, I stand on the shore. All my worries cast out, I'm wanting no more. Every cast of prayer, I'm feeling so free. under the light. Bailing my hook, I'm hooked on this side. In the silence of water, the East guides my hand. Nature's a temple so vast, so grand. With every fish caught, there's joy in my soul. Fishing's a journey, it makes me feel whole. Jesus shines bright under the